Education Management Institute. I want to invite you to our Education for Sustainable Development Training Model Center. This is the place to discover yourself. Welcome. In this room, we want you to discover yourself. In the process of discovering yourself, then transformation can happen. Education for Sustainable Development is a concept that is supposed to transform somebody. Transformation starts with somebody's inner being. Behind the door, we have the wisdom corner. This is where, as you get into this room, you go through what has been written here. In the process, you are discovering yourself. For example, we are talking about telling the truth and making someone cry is better than telling a lie and making someone smile. We are talking about hypocrisy. If you read the first statement and you realize somewhere you lied because you wanted to please someone, you will start thinking about what you did and start going back and correct the mistake. Below the wisdom corner, we have the number that is below there. One of the viewers is saying that this number is 6. The other one is saying it is 9. Here we are talking about perception. As human beings, we could be having the same thing, but we are seeing different things. So as you get into this room, we don't want to judge you by what you want to think about what we have displayed. But our idea is there, and whatever insight you will get out of it, it will be welcome. Immediately you get into the room, we are talking about the peace garden. The peace garden. We want you to have peace. When you look around the room, you see colors. You imagine that these are just decorations. No, they're not just decorations. All this is supposed to give you peace in the process of learning. So we want to learn how to learn. Before we go far, we have said this is KEMI. We have used this to write the name KEMI. And in the peace garden, if you look at what we have here, this is a pot. What happens in a pot? A pot can be used at home to store water. A pot can be used for cooking. A pot is very important at home. Now here, we are talking about the core values. And we have said these are the important people in KEMI 2018-2019. This was just an idea that came to me, and I thought it is important for purposes of inclusivity, for people to know that they are important in this institution. So I used a pencil to write the names inside the pot, not outside the pot. But below here, there is fire. These are challenges that we all encounter in KEMI. In the process of the fire heating, it is possible that we will be boiling inside. Even as we boil, there is a cork that cannot allow anybody to get out. So what we are saying, we are supposed to coexist. In the process, we have the values: professionalism, integrity, respect, courtesy, continual improvement, teamwork. Teamwork is at the center, integrity. So everybody looking at this, they will feel good. I've had members of the staff coming here, and the moment they see their name there, they feel good. There is Richard, there is Grace. If we have 5 Graces, we have 5 Grace. If it is Peter, depending on how many Peters we have in the institution. Now, looking at what we have here, These are the principles of ESD. ESD is about learning to know, learning to be, learning to live together, learning to do, learning to transform oneself and the society. So that is all about ESD. Education for sustainable development is not about acquiring a lot of knowledge in the head. We are saying we have to connect the head, the heart, and the hands. So whatever we learn in this room, it is not about putting it in the head. We need to bring it down to the heart and then be able to implement whatever we have learned. We are talking about a tree here. This tree is just a creative idea from one of the staff of KEMI, a gentleman called Ben. We had an open day where he just came up with this idea. These are old newspapers. There is a carton behind there, and then took a pencil color, black, and drew the tree. Then we are saying, climb the tree. So if you have to climb the tree, there are so many questions that will come to your mind. I'm simply telling you, climb the tree. Why? You will ask, why should I climb the tree? If you look at the tree, you're like, how will I climb the tree? You have to get strategies on how to climb the tree. Who will you climb the tree with? Who will assist you climb the tree? When can you climb the tree? There are so many lessons to learn when you look at this alone. Now here, we have the 7 golden rules of education for sustainable development. In essence, that is what we are applying when we are facilitating people in education for sustainable development. The 7 golden rules are all starting with the letter R. So we are talking about refuse, we are talking about recycle, reconnect, reduce, rethink, reuse, and repair. Then when I thought about these 7 golden rules, I thought I needed to add another one. Now, respect is mine. If you have to do all this, then you have to respect everybody that surrounds you, everything that surrounds you, and everything about what God has brought into this world. So in the process of doing this, we are saying this is our community curtain. The community curtain gives you an opportunity to share your insights. When you look at this, you will think and then get somebody, pair with a person, and start sharing what you think is all about the 7 golden rules. In essence, you will be discovering yourself by re-evaluating yourself. When you think about something to, for example, refuse. For example, I gave an example here, refuse corruption. I have put a pocket here for you, where you simply pick a paper, get a pen, and put it down. What do you think you want to refuse? I want to refuse doing wrong things. You just put it there, doing wrong things. Doing wrong things. So it is you who knows what you are talking about when it comes to doing wrong things. Take the sticker note and put it there. So if it is about reducing, I have put here, somebody put here, reduce paper. So you will ask yourself, why did he just write paper? You can reduce on the wastage of paper. For example, this is a training institution. How can you reduce when it comes to misusing paper? In many institutions, items or things are printed on one page. Now we are saying if you print on both sides of the paper, you will be reducing the number of papers that you will use. If not so, reduce the font. If it is something that anybody can read at close range, instead of using font 14, why can't you just use font 12? In that way, you will be reducing on paper. I can't talk about everything here. Now, this is our country, Kenya. This map was equally put here by somebody who belongs to KEMI during the open day. When you look at this map, you can start thinking about who you are as a Kenyan. In essence, we are talking about patriotism. How can you be patriotic to your country? Somewhere there is a picture of a Maasai telling you that these are the kind of people who are in Kenya. These are the cities in Kenya. These are the roads in Kenya. Now, when you look at the picture that I have placed in the center, that picture is the map of the world. Within the world, there is Kenya. And if you look keenly, the first thing you will see are the eyes. In essence, what we are saying, even as we are learning, we need to be focused. We need to have focus. The eyes give us focus. When you start a training program, you need to get the people's expectations. Many programs that we train here at KEMI are meant to capacity build the education managers. But for education for sustainable development, we don't just talk about education managers, it's about all the education stakeholders. Now, these are individual expectations. When you get into this room, after going through what you have seen, then you will want to write your expectation before the facilitation begins. What we have put along the window, those are slides that we can use to facilitate learning without necessarily using a projector. We can move with the participants from one slide to the next as we explain and discuss with them, as we share ideas. And in essence, learning continues up to the end. It is not possible to talk about everything that is in this room, but it is very important to talk about what is on this table. If you look keenly, as we started, we said we are getting into the peace garden. This box is called our healing box. The healing box, there is something we have that has been written there, scratch the itch. If you have to heal, you must scratch the itch. What is it in you that is really eating you up? That which you cannot share with anybody. Because we know a problem shared is half solved. But if you cannot share with anybody, we have a solution for you. What we are saying, we re-evaluate yourself. This is the healing box. Get a paper, write it here. Equally, there is a pocket, there is a pen. Get a paper, write down what is eating you up, tear the paper into pieces, and throw it inside the healing box. In the process, your mind will be healed. Besides the healing box, we have our nest, we have our zoo, and we have our garage. So what is in the nest? In the nest, we have different types of birds. In the zoo, we have different types of animals. In the garage, we have different types of cars. You can relate with any of these. For example, if you look at the cars, you can pick a car that you love. What is it in this car? For example, I have picked this white car. Why do I like this car? If I have to talk about myself, when you look at this car, it is white. I think that is what is in my heart. My heart is very clean. I am white, as much as I know. This car can hold up to 7 people. Its capacity is big, meaning I can carry so many people within me, depending on what they have and what they want to release. If you're carrying people, if I'm carrying people in this car, it means I'm even carrying their burdens. If you look at this car, this is a car that is all-weather. It can go to any kind of road. It can go to a road that is muddy and a road that is tarmacked. Meaning me, Christine, I can go anywhere. If it is about carrying other people's burdens or assisting people to get out of the mud where they have been stuck, or helping them them to move from one place to another. So this is one way you can use these pictures in facilitating learning. If you look at the center here, we have a pencil holder. This pencil holder, you might think that it is very expensive. It is not. This is simply waste. When we were looking at the golden rules, there is one that is talking about reuse. We have actually reused waste to come up with this pencil holder. This is a board that we just picked out of waste. We didn't make it, neither did we buy it. This pink thing, this is just a carton box. A carton box surrounded by a manila paper. This is what remains after you have used a masking tape. And this is a tissue, the tissue cover. Inside here we have a plastic cup that has been used. And in the process, you have something very attractive on your table that people can use to put their pens or any other material that you want them to use while I will show you. If you come here, on this desk, I have something. What I have here, I picked it from an old calendar. It is simply talking about journeys are filled with promise, adventure, uncertainty, and challenges. Through them all, we are better together. On this table, we are going to have two people seated. If they look at what is here and they discuss, and finally they realize that we are better together. In the process, teamwork begins. Below the table, around the tables, equally, we have posts that when you are seated anywhere, you can read something. We are saying knowledge is power. If you look at what we have written, what is written here, you are seated there, you are looking at this post that says, when we get to the end of our lives together, the house we had, the cars we drove, the things we possessed won't matter. What will matter is that I had you and you had me. So in essence, we are talking about discovering yourself. It is not about the wealth of this world. It's about the people that we have with us. On this corner, we have the history of KEMI. The history of KEMI. We are talking about people who have made an impact in this institution and they have left, or they are still there. If we look at our history, we want to remember what we have done in the past. For example, the person at the middle was the former director of KEMI, Dr. Wanjiru Karioki. So we owe her a lot when it comes to education for sustainable development. That is why we have the history corner. We have not forgotten to highlight our president because we know he is the one leading this country. We are calling this center ESD Center. What we have used to write on the wall, ESD Center, are used CDs. Where do you take the CDs that you don't need anymore? Do you throw them away? You can use them in a creative manner. In essence, you reuse waste to come up with something that is pleasing, something that everybody can enjoy seeing. On top there, somebody wrote the place to be. Yes, if you have to be somewhere where you want peace, this is the place to be. On that other corner, we have the initials ESD. If you look from a distance, you will want to wonder, how was that written? Those are simply the remains of tissue papers. What remains after you have used a tissue paper can be used to have something for people to enjoy seeing, something attractive. E.S.D. Those were tissue papers that were used. Let me invite you to another community curtain. The community curtain on the other side was allowing the people who get into the room to put down the ideas and share them with others. But this community curtain has got so much in it that we want you to learn from what is there. For example, we are saying, keep trying. How many times do you give up when an idea has come to you and you just say, because I don't have resources, because I don't have the support, I will stop. But we are encouraging you, keep trying. Avoid anger. For you to be happy, for you to discover yourself, avoid anger. Be at peace with everybody. And how can you do that? We are saying keep smiling. Less is more. Whatever you think is less is actually more. If you look at what is in this room, somebody might imagine that there was a lot of money was used to transform the room to look like what it is. No, it is we simply used no money. We simply used what we had at hand. If you look here, we have used bottles, and we have the tissue rolls. When people get into the room, we are saying we have provided some materials, so you can use them to do anything that you think you can do in this room. Let me invite you to my wardrobe. This is my wardrobe. You might wonder, why do I have a wardrobe in the training room? We are simply trying to encourage people to be creative and to be able to use their talents. I know one of the talents that I have as a person is being creative. Another one is drama. So I can use what I have to explain what I want to explain to people without struggling, by simply using my wardrobe, my clothes. When I am facilitating education for sustainable development, I will start by putting on this black top. Sorry. Okay, I'll put on this black top and ask the participants what they think about my dressing. What is in black? We all know that black, in essence, the color black brings into our minds total darkness. Yes, that is what life is without education for sustainable development. Life is totally dark. You cannot see the end because there is no light. What happens in a dark world? What happens in a dark world are crimes. And crimes are represented by this other dress, which is red in color. I will put it on without revealing why I have put on the red dress. The participants will discuss. They will bring their ideas, what they think about the color red. Mostly, we will talk about distraction. We will talk about shedding blood. What is all that? It's because we are in a dark world. But we thank God because of the concept of education for sustainable development. The next dress that I am going to put on, now this is what I am calling education for sustainable development. What is in white? When I put on this white dress, I walk around the room, you see some peace. Those of us who are religious, peace is usually symbolized by the color white. Even in Kenya, our Kenyan flag, the color white symbolizes peace. So this is the symbol of ESD. When ESD gets into your heart, when you understand the concept of ESD, then you are able to discover who you are. In the process, you can get transformed. Now, what happens when transformation occurs in you? Now, finally, the last dress is here. My last dress is green. I'll put it on. Allow me to do this. I'll put it on, and in the process, many times when I put this and walk around the institution, everybody calls me ESD. Why? Because after learning what ESD is about, everything becomes green. The environment becomes green. Whatever you're doing becomes green, because green is life. Green is life. So education for sustainable development brings about transformation from black to green. And that is the essence of education for sustainable development. Before we go far, we have our collaboration center. We are talking about a collaboration center in the sense that this is our area where we have kept material for collaboration. Collaboration is about collaborating and competing at the same time. Collaborating and competition forms the word collaboration. This is one concept that has really assisted us when we want to help people to work as a team. In the process of training team building, you can use collaboration concept to have people work together. Whatever we are calling healthy competition is actually collaboration. Because in the process, they will be competing and collaborate before they get the results. So we have things that are actually waste. We picked this from somewhere along the road. These things were thrown away. So we picked them and we can use them to train collaboration in team building. This is the center that we allow people to feel free. When they feel like they are really stressed, they come here, they can pick, somebody can pick a rock and jump, then they can get onto this machine, but in most cases we use them on a carpet. So the space there, we put a carpet, put the machine there. Using the right shoes, the person can play. In the process, they feel relieved. At the center here, I have my perception box. It is simply a box that is covered and some things have been placed on it. So if I stand on this end, it is the same box. But what I can see, the person sitting there cannot see. What that person can see looking at this box, I cannot see. What the other person can see from the other end, I cannot see. So for them to know what is here, I have to communicate. I have to share with them. If I want to learn what they can see from that end, they have to communicate. In the society we are living, we perceive things from different angles. What I can see from one end, the other person cannot be able to see it. Meaning we are gifted differently. What is in me is not what is in the other person. When we are using this box, we are telling people it is important to accept others the way they are and learn from other people. On this table, we have the working table. It is actually the working table because anything that is here, it is in the process of being brought into the right picture of what it is supposed to be. For example, this is not yet over. This is not yet over. This can be used as a holder. This has been prepared from waste. The rings here are from bottles. This is a cutting from a bottle. And in essence, you can have that. We can use this as a flower vessel a basket for fruits to hold anything you want in the house. If you look at this one, I have balls. These balls, this one has been made out of socks. This one is out of paper. Instead of throwing away socks when they are torn, or when they have remained, for example, one is lost and one is remaining, instead of throwing it away, why can't we just prepare a good ball like this and give it to the children to use while playing? So when participants get into this room, they play using this ball. These bottles, this is waste. We are preparing a green one. Essentially, what we'll have here are plants, and we will hang them somewhere where they will be growing using the natural light. Same to these ones. These are water bottles. These ones have already been prepared almost through. We will put soil here and put plants and hang somewhere very decoratively, and there will be a way of teaching people how to use waste. Next to my door, we have many things. We have a pocket. In every corner of this room, there is this pocket. And on top of the pocket, we are talking about insights. Whatever you look at this end, and you feel like it is worth remembering, it is worth emphasizing on or sharing, you take the sticky note, get a paper out of it, get a pen, blue or red, whichever you want to write. For example, we are talking about head, heart, hands. When I started, I said we need to connect between the head, the heart, and the hands. Then you can talk about the heart. You say, heart. This is what has touched you. It is an insight. And somewhere on the wall, just put it there. Somebody reading will start asking, why? Why heart? In the process, they get answers. How? What? And learning will be going on. And so, in essence, we are saying sharing is inspiring. Education for sustainable development is about sharing. When you share your ideas, you inspire somebody. So, whatever is here, we are talking about sharing. Everything that we have placed on the walls, we are sharing ideas. There are some reminders we have put here. We have said leave the room neat. These are simple things. But without being told, some people will leave the room anyhow. After eating a meal, how do you leave the room? Do you collect the plates or do you place the plates back to where you found them? Please switch off the lights if the room is bright. This is about reducing on the waste of energy. If you want to reduce on the waste of energy, when the room is bright like this, why do you need the lights on? And many others. Report any breakages immediately. What we are saying, if you report, we can repair. So the 7 golden rules of ESD is what this room is talking about. Allow me to take you outside the room so that you can see a few other things that we are doing in education for sustainable development. This is work in progress. This is an idea that one of us came up with. Because we don't have land here where we can plant vegetables, and we think members of the community need vegetables that are hygienically planted well. We took waste sacks and planted the vegetables. Besides, we have the herbs. Some of these herbs can be used by people. When you have a cold, you can use it in hot water and you relieve yourself instead of going to the hospital all the time. Now, apart from this, we have other projects. We have the ESD Botanical Garden. Later, allow me to take you there very fast. Okay, I am talking about. These are tabs. These are tabs. And then this is one of our gardens. In this garden, we have a mixture of flowers and vegetables and even herbs. If you want your flower garden to be meaningful, you need to have a variety, not just flowers. Let us have fruit. These are spring onions. This is a herb. And these are flowers. So if you look at what we have here, it's a mixture. We are simply training people on how to use a flower bed and how to use a fence. On that fence, we have passion fruits. If we were to take some time, you will see some monkeys around. What is attracting them? What is attracting the monkeys are the fruits that we have planted along the fence. Now next to this flower bed, we have our botanical garden. Trees. We are talking about trees that we have preserved. Indigenous trees, fruit trees, ornamental trees, they are all here. How do we have these trees here? When we have important guests in the institution, we bring them here to plant a tree in remembrance of their being here. For example, in this garden, we have trees that were planted by His Excellency, the Ambassador of Israel, the Cabinet Secretary of Education, the Director General of Education, the Director of KEMI, the former Director of KEMI, and many others. So in essence, this is work in progress. What is remaining to be done is the labeling. What do we want to do while labeling this garden? We will give the trees their indigenous names. We have marked which tree was planted by who. We will indicate somewhere that this tree was planted by this person on these dates. After having the indigenous name, we will give them the botanical name. And below the botanical name, if it is a medicinal plant, we will also indicate what that plant, the value of that plant when it comes to medicine. Apart from that, we want to have this garden as a peace garden where anybody can come, rest, and feel good about what is happening around them. So natural, so beautiful, so comforting. In the process, you find peace. And for us to help them do that, we are going to have, in the process of labeling, we will give each tree a value, a virtue, a label depending on a certain value or a certain virtue. For example, if we call this tree love, we call the other tree joy, we call the other tree faithfulness. So as you sit around relaxing, you start asking yourself, what about love? What about faithfulness? And in the process, we will all have peace. Now, that is not all about education for sustainable development. This is simply a demonstration center. Education for sustainable development is about the whole institution. KEMI was declared a model training center for education for sustainable development in the year 2015. So since then, we are trying to do everything we can in the institution to make everything look like ESD, from the gate to the classes to the offices up to the demonstration center. Anybody getting into KEMI should be able to see ESD. So this is work in progress. I want to thank you for taking your time to listen to us, to share with you what we are doing when it comes to training people on education for sustainable development. Thank you.